he may not have agreed with everything the Queen did, but she could certainly rely on him to give an honest opinion.
So obviously, we're seeing a lot of clips and articles written about this upcoming Prince Philip documentary. What do you think we're going to learn about him? I know that you are pretty much an expert on Prince Philip, so what do you think something new we're going to learn about him?
There'll be little snippets, little family things that will be new, but I mean, there's a lot of talk about how he's, I think, more of a family man than perhaps other people would assume. I mean, I'll be very rose-tinted glasses, no question about that. They'll talk a lot about his barbecuing skills and some of his funny anecdotes. But really, I think most people that have met the Duke and knew the Duke would really be not that surprised. I mean, I think that it's quite... I love his sense of humour. A lot of people don't get it. And there was one scene when Prince Charles talks about, his last conversation that he was having with his father, and they were talking about his 100th birthday celebrations. And he said, well, I probably, I might not make it. That's the point. First thing says I've got to get to 100. So, he was quite a pragmatic man, a very funny man, and but also seriously minded, more though so than people think. I found him, you've got to remember that for anyone to be on the throne for as long as the Queen, 70 years next year, for majority of that with Prince Philip at her side, you're talking like a president that's who's been around on there for all that time, and you need a pretty good first lady or first gentleman if that happens to have that person at your side, because there's so much that goes on, and you have to deal with that, and you need someone to be that person to bounce things off. And Prince Philip was a perfect sounding board. He may not have agreed with everything the Queen did, but she could certainly rely on him to give an honest opinion.
Yeah, I mean, out of everybody besides the Queen, who was Prince Philip closest to in the family?
Probably, Prince Edward, actually. I think when they were younger, he was very close to Princess Anne. But Prince Edward, there was a lot of talk that, he was disappointed with him over him quitting the Royal Marines when he was quite young. Actually, I think Prince Philip thought it took great strength to do it because it wasn't what Edward wanted. Yeah, and I think they had the closest relationship. And actually with Edward's wife, Sophie, I think probably because, as he got older, they were closer and also spent a lot more time with the Queen and Prince Philip than, say, Charles and Princess Anne have both got very busy work schedules, and Prince Andrew. So, but no, it's definitely Edward, I would say. And it's no surprise either that Edward is taking over the Duke of Edinburgh award scheme. There was talk that he would become the Duke of Edinburgh on the death of the Duke. That wouldn't happen straight away anyway, because Prince Charles would inherit that title. Because now Prince Charles is Duke of Cornwall, Prince Charles, Prince of Wales, Duke of Cornwall and Edinburgh, because he's the oldest son. I mean, it may be that Charles, when he becomes king, gives that dukedom to his brother, but we'll have to wait and see.
We'll have to wait and see. How do you think the Queen is coping with his death?
Well, the one thing, the Queen is a deeply religious lady, and she has great faith, and I think that she will be deeply sad, as we all remember her at the funeral. It was a deep, very, very sad occasion, and because of COVID and the pandemic restrictions, that she was having to sit alone, and that really did add poignancy to her. But she's a very practical lady. I think she's clearly wants to get on with the job that is her job that she has to do. While she is mentally and physically able to do it, she will continue to do it, with the support mainly of the Duke of Prince of Wales and Duke of Cambridge, who are the lead direct heirs, who will be obviously playing an important role in decisions about the future of the monarchy. Yeah, and I think she's coping, but obviously, it's a massive loss for her, a deep, deep loss for her.